when you do start to make changes, your brain starts freaking out and it feels like it has to learn something new when it's already in a depleted state. And so your nervous system can resist that change big time. Even when the willpower is there, there's this learning process that we all have to go through, right? Are you tired of the overwhelm and the nonstop anxiety and ready for simple, doable steps to beat burnout, support your body naturally, and process the heavy emotions through a biblical lens? Then you're in the right place. I'm Cassie, wife, mom of 5 home-birthed babies, and a trauma-informed women's health coach who crawled out of deep burnout myself. I learned how to rebuild my energy and my identity from the ground up. If you're ready for steadier energy, emotional stability, and joy that doesn't evaporate by noon, then grab your not coffee, take that one quiet breath you're going to get for the day, and let's dive in. Because if you're waiting for a perfect moment, you might as well pencil it in for never. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode. I'm excited to talk to you today about why change can feel so impossible. Why is it so hard to make the changes that we know we need to make, but yet we don't make them? It's just like what Paul says in Romans when he says, "For I do not understand my own actions, for I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate." And maybe you don't do the very thing that you hate, but it causes, when you keep continuing to eat the food you don't want to eat, or you continue to sit down instead of go exercise, or you continue to skip your supplements because it just feels terrible to try to swallow a bunch of pills, or whatever the thing might be that you know you need to do and you know you need to stay disciplined in it. It could be house cleaning, right? Let's just do the dishes at the end of the day. Let's just put these things away. Let's just fold the laundry as soon as it comes out of the dryer, right? Like, let's just do the thing. And we tell ourselves this, and then we get stuck in this shame cycle when we don't do the thing that we know we need to do. And so I'm going to actually lay out some neuroscientific criteria that someone actually must meet. It's been proven that you must meet some of these things before you're actually willing to change the route that you're going down. So we're going to get into all of that today. Before we start talking about all of that, I really want to invite you to get on my email list. You can go into the show notes and you can download the Overwhelm Detox Planner, and it will walk you through how to reduce or detox the overwhelm out of your life. I know so many of us are walking around in overwhelm, and this planner helps you begin to ask all the right questions of who, what, where, when, and how do I start reducing the overwhelm within my life. And so I'd love to have you on the email list where you don't miss anything that's coming out and coming through your way, and all of the updates that are happening, okay? And also, of course, if you're interested, you can go to CassieHutton.com to learn more about working with me, to learn more about what HTMA testing is and what kind of trauma-informed wellness coaching I offer and what that looks like. And if you're on the podcast, then you already know a little bit about the framework that I use, how I approach healing overall, because I don't really talk a whole lot about physical things on this podcast, because so much of our health actually stems from what we believe, what we say to ourselves, and the internal dialogue that's been going on within us since childhood. And so on this show, we unravel a lot of those lies, and we sprinkle in some of the HTMA stuff and minerals and the physical side of things that might be going on with you. But we really talk a lot more about inner healing. And that's a lot of the work that I do, is really getting to the core of asking the right questions to you, framing my questions to you to get you to think about, these are like some patterns that keep happening in my life, and we're going to unravel those and get out of that unhealthy lifestyle that's keeping you sick. Okay? So let's talk about why healthy changes can feel so unsafe. For a lot of us who are here, who have gone through burnout, who have gone through childhood trauma, or whatever it might be, we probably grew up maybe as a people pleaser. And so that can make making changes feel unsafe, or like put the pause button on for a little while, because what are people going to think about me? Perfectionism. You want to make sure you have it perfect, all laid out exactly right before you ever even take that first step. And that ain't ever going to happen. Let me just tell you. I think go ahead, take the first step in what you know to do. I actually had this exact conversation with a client this week because her words to me were, I feel like I can never get all the pieces put together. And I said, well, that's kind of the point. You're never going to have all the pieces put together. The point of your healing journey is that it's just that it's a journey. We don't reach the end of the journey and we don't really know where we're going all the time. The point is to just put one step in front of the other. This is the door that has opened itself for us. This is the thing that's revealing itself right now. So we're going to step out onto that stone right now. And then as we continue along that path, the path will be illuminated and we'll know the next step to take. We will never have all of the answers, okay? Productivity, either you're overproductive, you don't have the energy to do it, you are putting yourself in this place where you're demanding too much on yourself. And another reason that you may feel like change isn't possible is because you're actually putting yourself last. Everybody else's needs are supposed to come first. You don't see how you would be able to restructure your home or your life in a way that actually puts you first. So then meeting your needs may feel very selfish or unfamiliar or very uncomfortable because you've been raising a family for a very long time. And I will say that was me in many ways of feeling like knowing that I had to put myself first, raising 5 little children was very hard. And then on top of that, when you do start to make changes, your brain starts freaking out and it feels like it has to learn something new when it's already in a depleted state. And so your nervous system can resist that change big time. Even when the willpower is there, there's this learning process that we all have to go through, right? Whenever we want change to happen, no matter how big or how small or what the change might be, there's still a learning process that we have to go through. And the brain can definitely resist that. And so that's a place where a lot of people can get confused, like, no, I just can't do this, when really it's the brain going like, okay, we just have to take it a little bit slower and again, put one foot in front of the other. So what actually helps change happen? So I'm going to list and read off a few things. People will not change until 2 or more of these criterias are met. So 1, when staying where you are becomes harder than doing something different. And to me, this is kind of just one of the biggest ones that I feel like is really the thing that sends people into a place of actually creating change in their life, because they realize that I can't stay here. So I've got to make a change. And so if I stay here, I'm going to die. I'm going to get chronically worse. I'm going to be in so much more pain. And so I've got to change. And I love the phrase, choose your hard, because when we're talking about health issues and we're talking about the body being physically sick and in pain and uncomfortable, let's just use, like, for instance, someone who might have IBS. You're running to the bathroom all the time. You have bloating all the time. You don't know what foods are going to upset your stomach and what aren't. You don't know what symptoms are going to be thrown your way for that day. And I like to say to some clients, choose your hard, because it's hard to run to the bathroom every 5 minutes. It's hard to have bloating and walk around uncomfortable every single day. So these things are hard that you're choosing as well. How about let's just choose another hard that's not always going to be hard, and it's also going to alleviate the hard things that you're struggling with now. You're never going to get out of this hard if you continue down the path that you're on. So choose your hard. Which hard path are you going to choose? Number 2, when you see enough hope to believe change is possible for you. So this is why it's so important for me to share my testimony that yes, you can heal. You can come out of the spiraling, very dramatic, dark place that you're in that is called burnout. Okay. If you're watching I bought into it. Okay. I've seen so much social media online that I started for myself watching the Lindsay Clancy trial. And I want to know for myself, what do I believe is true? What is going on? And one thing I can tell you for sure is that she hit burnout. I mean, her story is so much like mine. She hit this place postpartum of spiraling out of control. And unfortunately, she went the Western medicine path, and you can see what it did for her. Thank God I did not. I was never even going to consider going the Western medicine path. I never even went to see a doctor, never even went to see a naturopath. I knew that none of that was going to be the right path for me. And God opened a door for me, and I worked with someone, and then God kept opening doors for me to where I was able to continue going deeper in my healing. And so those people that God put in front of me and the path that I have chosen to walk down were people that were giving hope because they had come out of it. They had healed themselves. They had come out of so much of their own burnout and so much of their own medical health problems that I was able to see this is possible. Number 3, when you understand what needs to change and decide that you're ready. So just an understanding, like something in your brain clicks and you're like, oh, okay. In other words, this is the first step that I need to take. Number 4, when you feel safe, supported, and equipped enough to take the next step. Huge one. So if you don't feel safe, supported, and equipped, I can see where that would be a huge setback. I will say that it took me a little bit. I needed to know from my husband that financially he was okay with this and that he was 100% behind it, because if he wouldn't have been, then yeah, I would have never been able to fully dive into doing what I needed to do. And the last one, when you begin healing the wounds that kept you stuck and you recognize that your need matters. So you recognize that, oh, okay, I actually have been putting my needs last and it's not okay. I've been doing it in the face of being a good mom, being a good Christian, helping everybody else, making sure that telling myself that my worth was in taking care of others instead of, no, my worth matters even if I just exist. Okay? You do matter. As a woman, you must take care of yourself first. I go back to this all the time. The Hebrew women, they would go to the tent and they would have their bleed and their cycle, and then they would take a whole nother week. They would take 7 days to rest and to have their cycle, and then they would take a whole nother 7 days for spiritual cleansing, physical cleansing, emotional cleansing. So they were gone 2 weeks out of the month, every single month, to take care of themselves. So they were literally separated from their husbands to take care of themselves for half of their life. Half of their entire menstruating life was spent taking care of themselves and putting their needs first. That's huge. And this is biblical. And yet here we are as modern day Christians, not even giving a thought to taking care of ourselves, because that's actually selfish and not Christian at all. Maybe we should do a little bit more research on what it actually is like to be a woman. So I put this scripture in here in Philippians 2:13. It says, "For it is God which works in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure." And when I read that, I thought, that is so good, because it reminds me of taking a step back and thinking about how we need to pray when we're in this type of situation, of what actually helps change to happen. And if you don't have one of those 5 desires, or at least 2 of those 5 desires within you, then that's one of the reasons that you don't feel like change can actually happen yet, or why you haven't actually taken initiative to start making change in your health and in your whatever area you want to start doing something. It may be to be organizing your home, right? Decluttering your home is a decluttering of your mind and your heart, and you're able to kind of breathe, But it starts with, God, help this desire change within me. Give me your will for this, because it's God's work within you to give you both the desire and the ability to act upon it. So it's to pray for the desire to change before any other prayer happens. If you're not there yet, then our prayer is pray for the desire to change. So one thing that I want to share with you, I loved this. My friend, she wrote a cookbook, and in her cookbook, she shares a story about when she was young and she became a young mother, and she was helping people get in shape and take care of their bodies. And she didn't just want to work out. She was also wanting to make healthy changes in her diet and in her food. And one of the main things that she did was really cut out processed sugar. But she grew up on junk food. She grew up eating McDonald's. She grew up eating fast food, and she really did not like healthy foods. And so her prayer I thought this was just so genius, was Lord, please change my taste buds. Change my taste buds so that I will like the foods that actually heal my body and cause me to have health and longevity again. And I thought that was just such a beautiful prayer, so practical, so simple. But that's where our prayers need to go to. We need to start with the simple thing of what is it really that I need to pray for in order for change to happen? Okay. And so some practical steps are prayer. But another thing that I want you to do is to identify the one healthy change that you keep avoiding, and then ask yourself what feels uncomfortable or unsafe about it. And then once you identify it and identify what's making you truly uncomfortable or unsafe, is that when you actually start to make those changes, make sure that you're making them smaller and very manageable. Don't start with, let me deep clean the entire house as my step to keeping a cleaner home. It's not to just completely revamp your pantry the very first week that you step into healthier eating. It's to start with one small change and make one small step and prioritize something where you funnel it down into actually something that's manageable and doable. And then you're going to choose a source of support. So it might be a person or a boundary or a practical resource. So let's say you have something that's broken in your home. How about get it fixed so that you actually have the resource that's there to help you to make your job a little bit easier? But if it's the boundary, then what is that boundary for you? And set your mind to keep an oath with yourself that you're not going to cross that boundary. And then, of course, it's always super helpful to have your spouse support you or a friend support you or to get someone to do this thing with you together. And I mean, with me, that's what I do as a coach. One of my clients, that is one thing that she's doing is she is uncluttering corners and spaces of her home each and every week. We have made it a priority that no matter what, 2 days a week, she spends about 15 minutes decluttering one space of her home. And I check in with her. How did that go? What's it looking like? Send me pictures. And so we broke it down into something small and doable, but it's also helping her. And now she's getting homeschool organized. She's getting her kitchen organized. And so she's feeling good about herself. Not only that, but it's setting her mind to something so that she's not stuck in doom, gloom, and a spiraling mood when she's in burnout. It's actually keeping her mind set on a goal so that she is rewiring her brain to not stay in that dark space and spiral down, down, down each day. Okay. And then consistency. So consistency matters more than anything. So not perfection. If you miss a day or if you mess up, it's about getting back into it and just staying consistent with the small things first so that you can build capacity after that. Okay. So a reminder that you do not have to fix everything today because most women that are in burnout, that's your personality. So I want to remind you that start small, don't fix everything today, and start by simply noticing the small things that you need. Okay? Be blessed. Love you all. Change your prayer. Let me know what your prayers are. Let me know what you decide to change. I would love to hear from you. Bye. Hey, ladies. I hope today's episode hit you where you needed it. If it did, take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who's burnt out, praying for relief, and tired of feeling like God's strength is for everyone but her. And if you haven't yet, leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more women get the support they've been begging God for. Now I'm off to make my adrenal cocktail and do the slow, steady work that pulled me out of survival mode. I'll meet you back here next Tuesday for another episode. Bye.